A class action lawsuit against many of the resorts on the Strip. They're accused of working together to artificially inflate hotel room prices. Kim Passoff has been looking into this, and tonight she spoke to a UNLV hospitality professor about the merits of the case. Kim.
Yeah, according to this lawsuit, if you have rented a hotel room on the Strip on or after January 25th, 2019, you may have overpaid. This 29-page document alleges that major hotel operators work together with a third party to fix prices and charge inflated prices for most hotel rooms on the Strip. A group of people who rented hotel rooms on the Las Vegas Strip filing this class action lawsuit, accusing 4 of Vegas's largest gaming and hospitality companies of engaging in an illegal price-fixing scheme to raise hotel room rates. While Las Vegas hotel room prices are currently at record highs, UNLV professor Amanda Bellarmino says it is not because of price fixing.
There's many things that contributed to the record high room revenue that we had last year, but the biggest thing is demand. This was the first year since the pandemic that we had the Raiders. This is the first time that people without restrictions were able to come here.
The class action suit names MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, Treasure Island, and Wynn Resorts, collectively 20 of the 30 major Strip properties. Investigating attorneys from law firm Hagens Berman claims the hotel operators worked together to inflate prices using a revenue management software called Rainmaker. The lawsuit alleges that Rainmaker is used by an estimated 90% of Vegas Strip hotels and collects real-time pricing and supply information from their competitors, providing room rental rate recommendations designed to unlawfully maximize profits. Attorneys say this algorithmic-driven price fixing is in violation of antitrust laws. Bellarmino doesn't think that that is the case.
I have been a revenue manager. I've used Rainmaker. As long as hotels have been setting prices and had a telephone, they have looked at their competitors' rates. And the rates that they're looking at is publicly available data.
Attorneys say operators should price rooms independently, that sharing of pricing and capacity information through Rainmaker has displaced normal competitive pricing and led to increased room prices. But Bellarmino believes unless proprietary information was shared, they will have a hard time proving their case.
It's just like if you had a bookstore and you went around to all the other bookstores to see what they're pricing something at. Is that collusion? No, that's competitive research. So I think that I don't really view this as collusion.
And tonight we reached out to the hotel groups named in the lawsuit. As of this report, we have not heard back. Reporting live tonight, Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
And if you think you overpaid for a hotel room and want to take part in the class action lawsuit, you can find a link on our website, fox5vegas.com.